we stand in front of Dollar Tree, and basically,
such as this thing here.
All right, I'm excited to have a guest.
Metal right here, of course, everyone is.
Cuba is like they're under a dictator.
RTD Live Talk, Detroit's #1 late night YouTube talk show. We are live for a Thursday night edition of the People's Talk Show. Looking forward to connecting and finding out what's going on. Lots of things worth touching on. And one subject matter that has flown under the radar for the most part happens to be surrounding the current regulatory framework. This deal is geared towards making sure Russia doesn't continue to benefit from their wealth and natural resources with this whole Russian price cap. And it looks like tomorrow they'll be coming together as always to try to punish Russia. But ultimately, the response from the Russian authorities basically said that it only will hurt Europeans and Americans because they're going to cut us off from their energy, which once again, we've learned a lot from the sanctions that didn't work. So it's good to say that this upcoming oil price cap will definitely come back to bite the world in the butt. So it's all part of the plan, unfortunately. But anyway, looking forward to sharing my thoughts on that as well as a couple other subjects. And would love to hear what's on your radar. What are you guys keeping an eye on? Definitely let me know in the chat. And then when the phone lines open up, we'd love to hear from you guys directly. Feel free to give me a call. And let's just check in real quick. I'll do any first-time viewers or whatnot, or want to get a quick shout-out, let me know where you're watching from. I'll acknowledge your presence. Then do a little maintenance on my side. Definitely guide to help promote and get basically help people get plugged into some opportunities that I've been extremely fortunate to have people want to support the channel with. So definitely we'll do that, and then we'll dive into some articles and go from there. So give it a second before I begin, just so make sure everybody's able to get notified. If you don't mind, hit that thumbs up button, show your support for the channel. Hopefully more people are notified and we can keep moving right along. And then I'll open up my phone so I can make sure when it's time to talk, we can connect. All righty. So let me just check in real quick. We got my Royal Maker Life from PA. How you doing? We have Barlight Broker. We got Jay. We got Gene. What else we got here? It says, Mike, we're watching the grocery store go bare. Really? Yeah, man. The current food situation is no joke. And based upon this stuff I'm going to talk about tonight in reference to the energy, it plays right into it because you need oil and gas and fertilizer and all the other things that come from that, which Russia provides a good abundance of to actually put food on shelves. And if that's not coming as normal, then we're going to have a lot of issues. But what we're experiencing now is just beginnings of what will be much worse, more than likely, months heading into next summer after that, things like that. So it's all intentional. Nothing is by accident. So that's why trying to just, warn as many people, wake up as many people as possible while there's still time, and hopefully try to present people opportunities of being able to prepare and take advantage of opportunity. Because right now it's probably as cheap it's going to be to get whatever you need. And then if it gets cheaper, more than likely you won't be able to find it. So it'll be a scarcity situation soon enough. So anyway, let me jump in, acknowledge a couple more people. What else we got here? Jay says Vatican calling back all his investments. Yep, September 30th. We touched on that a couple days ago. Got Dwayne Clark checking in as well. All right, man. Fair amount of people here, man. So before I move forward, I definitely want to just put together some things on my side here just to promote some sponsors. And so I'm just going to play a quick little snippet to give you more insights as to what's going on behind the scenes here, trying to make sure everybody's covered when it comes to protecting themselves, financially speaking, with the weight, as well as I'm excited to offer Four Patriots decided to sponsor the channel. So I'm excited to work with them and continue to get my calories up. So hold on one second, and I'm going to play this ad because it makes it easier for me rather than just going through that same list I typically do and going that route. So just going to try something a little different on my side here and see how it works. So stay right there.
Here's a great opportunity for you to get your weight up. Let's face it, our purchasing power and our currency has been destroyed in real time. That's why I'm excited to tell you about my partnership with Bullion Max. Bullion Max will ship gold and silver directly to your door for you to hold at your home or in your own safe. To help you get started, I worked out a special offer with them. Get Bullion Max Silver Starter Kit at employee pricing. Just go to bullionmax.com/RTD. This kit includes 5 of the most desirable silver products to invest in, including the American Silver Eagle and the Silver Australian Kangaroo. This offer is limited to 1 per household while supplies last, so get yours today and take advantage of this opportunity to get your weight up. Now, you can't just stop at getting your weight up. You also got to get your calories up, because definitely a food shortage is underway between droughts, flooding, and all the climate issues being thrown our way. America's food supply is near its breaking point. That's why survival food is more important than ever. Create your own stockpile of the best-selling 4 Patriot survival food kits. It's not ordinary food. We're talking about 25 years super survival food, hand-packed right in the family-owned facility in the USA. The kits are compact, sturdy, water-resistant. They have different delicious breakfasts, lunches, and dinners. Go to 4patriots.com/RTD to get your 3-month survival kit. You'll get their famous guarantee for an entire year after your order, plus 10 free gifts and free shipping. To take advantage of this opportunity, go to 4patriots.com/RTD to build your own stockpile today, because beyond the weight, you're going to need your calories as well. Links in the description.
All right, so let's jump right in. So I wanted to streamline that, make it a lot easier. Real appreciative of companies wanting to support the channel, and definitely helps on my end. So anyway, let's jump right in and talk about the primary subject matter. So, definitely food is going to be a part of that. So if you're interested, definitely take advantage of that opportunity. I know I will myself. But real quick, I want to just thumb through 3 or 4 headlines, and I've opened up the mic. Definitely love to hear what you guys are keeping on your radars. But here's something that hasn't gotten talked about much because of all the other things going on. But it says G7 to discuss proposed Russian oil price cap tomorrow. And so if there's anything we can learn based upon prior stupid decisions made by the G7 and all the other globalist puppets, is that whatever they're doing, they're deliberately selling it to the public as being something beneficial that's going to hurt Russia because of what they're doing with Ukraine. But ultimately, it backfires. It always backfires, and that's intentional. And so basically what they're talking about now is trying to rouse up enough support from the G7 nations. But ultimately, a lot of the European nations, not in the G7, have already gone rogue in a sense, just because they need energy. And right now, Europe is the first domino that's falling due to this globalist agenda to isolate Russia, but ultimately hurting their consumers in the European country. And so as a result of this, here is another little headline here. I can read more, but I'll spare you guys that. But let me zoom in here so you guys can see it. And so this is very telling because Yellen in the U.S. is leading the way. And it says Yellen warns of failure to agree on Russian oil price cap. And real sweet and simple. Basically, this is her saying that without a price cap, we face the threat of a global energy price spike if the majority of Russian energy production gets shut in. And so every time she speaks, it's deception. Like nothing that comes from these people's mouths at this point has anything to do with reality. And so even through reading through this, basically they're saying that by cutting off Russian energy, it'll be somehow beneficial for the rest of the world. And they're trying to say that it'll help keep prices down. But ultimately, if you remove a supply, there's going to be a supply issue. Therefore, price for everything else that's out there will have to go up. And so the fact that they're trying to spin this as being something helpful for the consumers, and when it comes to energy, especially in Europe, is straight stupidity. But it says that the European Union has decided to ban nearly all oil from Russia by the end of this year. And we're witnessing right now the article that, the articles talked about last night with oil, gas bills and stuff coming in from the UK and Europe is all-time high, has a lot to do. It could all be linked back to basically pissing off Russia and the domino effects that come from that. But yet, they're clearly talking about trying to cut it off officially by the end of this year. It's not happening. It says the UK and other Group 7 countries tentatively agreed in June to pursue a ceiling on the price of Russian oil. It says Britain intends to influence key nations to join this plan. And it goes on and on and on. It says limiting the price would reduce Kremlin's income from oil, and a cap would encourage the country to continue producing. So if you make it unprofitable for them to continue to produce, they're going to continue to produce at the same level with no hindrances whatsoever. Doesn't make sense whatsoever. If I'm not getting paid enough, I'm not going to pump none, basically. And so as a response to this, this is where Russia comes in. And this is very interesting because it says Russia issues an oil supply warning to the G7. So here is the Russian government basically clapping back at the globalists, telling them what will happen if they go through with this oil cap. So ultimately right now, as we're witnessing, this whole sanction stuff, it was not meant to work. It was more so disguised as a way of responding to the event that the West started with Ukraine. While all along, every government, even the German foreign minister, I put a video on Telegram earlier, she's basically pledged her support to Ukraine, regardless of what her citizens in Germany are talking about. So, as we're witnessing between the UK, Germany, and all the other countries that are having severe issues with energy, they're hard pressed to continue to support Ukraine for some unknown reason, while also talking about ramping up with this oil price cap, which is definitely, basically the warning is out there that if you do that, we will cut you off. And then what do you think is going to happen then? It's going to be a much, much, much colder winter, not only this year, but also falling into next year. But real quick here, just to show you how severe this will be when this goes through, because it's inevitable, because to them it makes sense, but to the rest of the world who actually need energy, it doesn't. It says Russia will embargo countries that support Washington proposed price cap on its oil. And so the deputy prime minister said today, in my opinion, this is a complete absurdity. To those companies or countries that will impose restrictions, we will not supply our oil and oil products because we are not going to work under non-market conditions. So also me saying that if you cut us off, we won't be shipping out, therefore you won't be receiving. It says establishing a price ceiling on Russian oil is conceived as a means of slashing Moscow's revenue from exporting the commodity while avoiding shutting the country's crude oil out of the market. So he's basically saying you want us to continue to provide energy for the world, but you're going to set the price still. And this has a lot to do with why Russia and all the other nations, they're running away from the Western world order, i.e. the petrodollar system, and they're wanting a free market discovery on their own energy. And then the last one here says, and this is the quote from the same minister here, it says, and European and American consumers will be the first to pay for it, while they are already paying high prices today because of the stabilizing measures of their governments are implementing, in particular the sanction restrictions. So ultimately, he's saying that if they do this, or more likely when they do this, the nations that participate in this plan will be cut off completely. So imagine just some of those G7 nations and probably a couple EU nations jump on board, decide to write their signature on that price cap legislation is going to be put forth, they'll immediately be cut off. And of course, we here in America, we've been draining our strategic reserves to send them to China and to Europe. And we haven't been, if I'm not mistaken, I haven't been following energy market much, but we haven't been importing much oil because we dang sure don't produce enough. And over the last several months, they've cut down the leases and starting to cap a lot of old oil wells that haven't been utilized. So literally, we're operating on bare minimum over here. So if Russia decides to cut it off, then what will we do in the future? So this is more of how it's becoming obvious how the things that they're doing are intentional to destabilize things. Like it's no way around it because it doesn't make sense. But it, once again, plays into the whole going green, that zero carbon emission agenda that's a part of the World Economic Forum's, plot against the humanity. So it's complete nonsense. But here we are. And so the reason I thought I would just shine light on this is because based upon the actions by the G7 nations tomorrow, if and when that passes, expect even higher prices down the line of all forms of energy, everything coming from Russia, because the West is literally doing it on purpose. So anyway, there's just a little something there in reference to the whole energy sector. Keep it moving. And then here is an article that shines more light on how basically Russia and China already got the energy game locked down because they're making money hand over fist over there because everything is backfiring. And so it's not hurting Russia or China one bit because they got all the oil they need and the deals have already been signed with the currency swaps as well as the bilateral trade agreements and everything they've been working towards. And here's a very detailed article that shines more light on that. But it says Moscow and Beijing laughing all the way to the bank how China makes easy money reselling Russian gas to Europe. And ultimately just talks about how all the sanctions put out there as boomerang against the West is not working. Only people who listen to mainstream media in the Western hemisphere would actually think that Russia is struggling right now. They're making more money over there over the last 7 months or 6 months now because of all the Russian oil payments that are required as well as the currency swap with friendly nations, and the fact that China has been purchasing even more oil and then reselling it. And it says in this article here, they're even reselling it to Europe along the way, and taking American energy and reselling it to Europe as well. So China, as the middleman, is getting paid left and right. But this is a very detailed article, gives a lot of stats, facts, and numbers and dollar signs as to how much is being made and how much Russia has basically hit all-time high in profits over the last couple of months, while we're being told that they're hurting. Yeah, come on now. This is all a farce, man. Anyway, a couple more articles here. On the home front here's an interesting headline I thought was worth mentioning. More people are starting to realize the packages on shelves are no longer offering the same quantity of contents within the bags and cans and, meats and stuff like that. So, and it says consumers' sensitivity to shrinkflation is leading them to switch food and beverage brands. And so they did a survey here, and some interesting results here. And it looks like Generation Xers, as it says here, respondents' level of concern about shrinkflation are extremely concerned. Millennials at 30%, Gen Z at 33%, and then baby boomers at 32%. And of course, the households that are under 100,000, under 50,000, the ones who are more grocery list conscious, are the ones that's noticing the cans, may not be as big or might have more air than they used to have a long time ago. So some interesting stats from there. And then just more information on what's happening in the renter market. Still hitting all-time highs, and yet the economy is supposed to be doing just fine according to the way they want us to believe it. But it says U.S. rents hit a record high for the 17th month in a row. 17th month in a row. That's not good. That's not good. And then the last one here. This is something it's the having smart technology, depending upon smart technology, is not a very smart idea, especially when you don't control the front or the back end of the computer code. But you guys might have heard of this, maybe you haven't, but it says thousands of Excel customers locked out of their thermostats during energy emergency. 22,000 people lost control of their temperatures in their homes for hours 24 hours ago. And so just give you a rough, it says temperatures climbed into the 90s on Tuesday, which is why Tony tried to crank up the air conditioning in his partner's home. It says, it was 90 out, and it was right during the peak period. That's when we saw a message on the thermostat stating that the temperature was locked due to an energy emergency. And so ultimately, having a smart meter on your house and a smart thermostat and everything that come with it. And this apparently is a part of some program in Denver where by signing up with this program, you get, some savings, and you probably get some cash back and all the things they use to hook people into these offers. It came back to bite them in the butt when an emergency hit because they couldn't operate their own thermostat. So one of the things I would put out there is, if you have a smart meter, if you have a smart thermostat as well, more than likely that plays right into the agenda of monitoring, tracking, tracing all your activity. And then based upon your carbon footprint and how much energy you use in the future, it will be used against you. So, get all that stuff out your house, man. Like literally, other than probably a smartphone and maybe a laptop, smart TV, smart this, smart that, smart car. I want no part of that. So that's just me. Anyway, enough me ranting. Let's open up the phone lines and find out what's going on. Lots of subject matter out there. Definitely would love to hear more of what you guys are keeping an eye on. Dwayne Clark says your house will turn on. Yeah, think about, and like this thing. Think about, and this troubles me. People who have the Ring doorbells, and there's been more than enough information out here now where how basically a street full of Ring doorbells is instant surveillance for whoever controls the back end, ultimately the Amazon cloud and Amazon things of that nature. And they've caught buku criminals without even requesting video footage. They just literally go into the cloud service and pull it out without even telling the owner sometime. And literally, so it's like you're paying for surveillance on your front door. Then you got them in your house too. And it's like, I mean, the fact that that doesn't bother people, to each his own. I mean, hey, whatever works for you. But just the technology and the trade-offs, they're too great for me. They're too great for me. I need some smidget of being able to whisper and not know that I'm being picked up. And that goes to having a Google phone as well. So, okay, it says, let me see here. Dirty Scant says a pound of copper U.S. penny is $1.45. Copper is now $2.90 a pound. Yeah. Yeah, metals, man. Metals. That's we're outside of the spot price for all these rare earth metals and metals in general, anything from the periodic table, everything that's traded on the COMEX and any of those other crime institutions, the LBMA, the London Metals Exchange, the ones that set the price for the metals that benefits them with all that future paper crap in the real world. Getting access to those things for that price is going to be very problematic. And I think one of the best examples would probably be the current silver market activity that we're witnessing right now. So I actually pulled up I pulled up the price of silver today and shared it on the Telegram page. But as we can see here at 1782, we're approaching what I call the great lockdown lows that took place in 2020, right when everything shut down. And so we saw it got down to 1235 right here at let me see what time it was on Friday, March 20th at noon. It was at $12.47. So we're not too far from there. Now, the big difference between 2 years ago and right now where we stand, we're coming out of the easing phase and we're into the tightening realm of just there being a not enough liquidity available to meet all the demands for servicing this debt. And there has been more removal of metal, in particular silver and gold, into the hands of the East like we've never seen before. So over the last 2 years, China and Russia and all the central banks, we've been talking about this before, they've been accumulating at a very alarming rate. And then also a lot of people in Main Street have realized the extreme volatility and stand in that 60-40 split of a plan that they've convinced people is safe. And a lot of people are getting physical. So my whole point was is 1782, they could, as we've always said, take this down to 15, 16, whatever, but it's going to be the difference we made up in the premiums. So right now you might be able to find a dealer or two that will have, a reasonable silver premium under 50% of the average spot price, if you can find somebody. But the lower the price goes according to the spot price, businesses, apart from the big boys like, the SD Bullions and some of the other big wigs out there, they may be willing to sell still. But then again, they won't be able to maintain keep their doors open for much longer if they sell at a loss. And then I saw somebody even mention the mining space. I haven't even really looked at the mining space lately. And I want to say they're still in the profitability realm as far as cost of getting it out the ground, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, there will be a decoupling and the spot price will not matter at some point. So we'll see. Anyway, I'm ranting too much. Let's talk. Let's open the phone lines. It won't be much longer. Just want to check in and just show and highlight how that oil cap that will be put on probably tomorrow will only compound the energy pain that Europe is feeling, and eventually it will make its way over here. Because mind you, we're literally running on borrowed time right now. Because as our strategic strategic energy preserves is being depleted with all that stuff that's being sent out, to my knowledge, we haven't been filling it back up. So next summer-ish, when the U.S. needs some energy, and if we on Russia's hit list still, where's it going to come from? And so it's about to be a complete, yeah, you know what I mean? All right, so let's get to some questions, man. Let's get to some thoughts, some questions, or whatever. I'm ranting too much. Feel free to give me a call. Phone lines are open. Be a couple more minutes. Definitely want to hear from some people if possible. And let me know what's on your radar. Lots of subjects out there. What are you guys keeping an eye on? Let me know. This is your chance to talk. Let me see, or highlight at Rethinking a Dollar. If it stands out, I'll definitely try to add my 2 cents on top of it. Can we remain irrational longer than we can stay solvent? That's a good one. Let me see here. I like you go to Walmart and tell them your side decide their selling price. Yeah. Ken, great point. It's like going to Walmart and telling them, yeah, right. It's not gonna work, man. That's the thing. Like it's sheer stupidity. The fact that you think you can tell another country what they can sell their energy for when the world needs it. Everybody's running to it. And on top of that, there's so many contracts that have been signed. I want to say Hungary, if I'm not mistaken, which is an EU nation, they signed a Russian energy deal recently. So they're one of the EU countries that said the heck with it. So here's a headline. Just grab this real quick, but countries are already broken and going against the grain. And so here it says Hungary signs Russian gas deal despite the EU objections. And so this was fresh off the press. This was as of today-ish release here, but so this is just one nation. It says several EU nations, including the Czech Republic, Slovakia, Poland, question Hungary's pro-Russian policies. And so it's just a matter of time. They'll be jumping on board too. So, and there's a couple other countries as well that's either in talks or secretly already signed up and want to make sure they keep their energy flowing. All right, what else we got out here? I'm ready to ride 24/7. What else we got? If you don't collect them, you aren't under contract. Let me see here. It's a lot. U.S. Empire is a huge bully. We're off 100%, man, and it's becoming even more clear by the month how nations have already turned their back against the U.S. And just look at how many nations have already broken away from the sanctions on Russia narrative, and then right now, all the BRICS and the Southeastern Asian nations, the EAU, the Eurasian trade bloc, as well as a lot of African nations, they've already signed up and ready to go with the BRICS. So really, so what is left for the West? Like the G7s, like they're scrambling to try to find nations at the last minute to sign up, as if like they're going to really sign their own death certificate beyond what they've already done with this bogus sanction stuff. And so, yeah, the U.S. is, nobody's favorite. But for a lot of the emerging market nations that are heavily indebted, and with the current reserve status that remains on the Federal Reserve liabilities, nations will continue to tolerate the bullying of the West until there's a visible, internationally accepted option put out there for people to utilize. Because as of right now, the BRICS haven't officially announced anything publicly and requiring the nations that have partnered with them to use it as whether it be a payment railway or an actual currency of some kind for energy. So as of right now, people are still clamoring for dollars, because if not, then what? Then how do they service their own debts? Because they're literally selling their currency, trying to buy dollars, and vice versa, and which is leading to the Dixie, the trade weighted basket of the dollar strengthening. We got the British pound tanking, we got the euro tanking, we got all those other G7 nations currencies, or G20 nations rather, tanking while the dollar is getting stronger, which ultimately will come back to hurt us as well, because it makes American business that much more challenging. If your dollar's strong, you can't sell to foreign nations when they can't afford to buy your currency. So it's going to come back to bite us in the butt as well. So it's a lose-lose situation. Barley Broker says 250 years is up. That's the way it's playing out. But then again, we've been following this for so long. It's like the fact that it hasn't gone a lot further than it already has is very surprising. But I have a strong suspicion that we're now in September. We got 3 months left, October, November, December, of some form of cuckoo-ness and craziness that's going to be brought our way. I think this entire midterm is going to be a complete scandal, just because, in my opinion, I don't really think it matters who actually wins. It's all a dog and pony show, ultimately speaking, just because at this current moment, I haven't been following it much, but what candidates are out there are really suggesting and promoting and putting forth something that can really change the game right now. I haven't heard anything that really just like, oh yeah, I want to support for them, other than the right calling the left cuckoo and completely, like there's just basically just call them out for what they are, completely lunatics in a sense. But then on the other side, the lunatics are now talking about the right, just basically just talking about Trump, 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 Trump. And so now Trump is back in the limelight. For the last 2 years, basically since Biden been in, they didn't want to do nothing with Trump. They've been trying to, they didn't even speak that name, this current administration. But now he's going after the MAGA crowd. And so now they're trying to do all types of things with potentially talk about indicting him. And yeah, so come on now. Like, man, it's just, man, it's theater, man. It's crazy. Mike, are things accelerating? I think my opinion is that structurally speaking, as far as the foundation in which the global monetary system sits on, i.e. the credit market, something is already broken. That's why we continue to see the reverse repo action, which basically the banks flooding, piling cash to the central bank's coffers for a little bit of interest. Then we got the jawboning of tightening, which ultimately just sucks out current amounts of currency, which causes more problems. And that's happening in every country around the world. And to let you know how bad things are, when governments and central banks, in particular the Federal Reserve, have to lie and rewrite definitions for recessions and things of that nature. And then I even saw an article yesterday I tweeted about the concept of a growth recession. And so we weren't in a recession, but then again, the narrative is about to change. They're about to come out with a whole new buzzword that paints a more optimistic viewpoint of where we're at and how we're still on track to fight inflation. Anyway. Okay, so Gene, so DeSantis, that's a wild card for me, because he's been able to position himself as this hero for the nation. And of course, it looks good on the surface, but outside of him firing shots at the current administration, calling the liberal left, the things he called them and stuff like that, it's very entertaining. But once again, that's one person out of all the other states. And I don't think he has enough clout or power to really do anything. And whatever he is doing, I think it's more so for self-interest to position him for presidency in 2024. But between now and then, the way the trajectory that we're on, what type of nation do you think we're going to be in at that point? And we got all types of factors. We have the health situation is about to be bananas this fall. Anyway, I'm ranting. Forgive me, man. I'm missing calls. Give me a call back. I'll get you on. Apologize. Yeah, but that's just it's so many different angles to look at this craziness as we move forward, that it's gonna be hard to 2024. I'm not too confident that our country will still be united at all by that time. Anyway, that's just me. Hello, caller. Where are we calling from?
Mike, it's Barlight Broker from the internet.
Barlight Broker, what's going on, my man?
Oh, I just had a thought that come through my mind. You know how all the world and the oil is traded in the U.S. dollar, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or it was. My question, or one of my, I don't know if you would call it worry, but one of my concerns is what's going to happen when all these countries bypass us and they don't want to use the dollar for oil trading anymore, which they're already doing, China, Russia,
right,
et cetera, et cetera. What's going to happen when all this money starts coming back here? I mean, that's going to be colossal.
Yeah, that's another problem as well. So that's the thing. All those foreign nations, as well as citizens that have ran to dollars throughout the last 30, 40 years as a safe haven against their own currencies, when they realize what the damage is being done. And at this current moment, because we're not outright, continuing to ease, people still have a sense of calm and reserve with holding those things, because their own currencies, like Argentina, all those countries are still going to the floor, through the floor. So they're holding on to them and probably buying more. So that provides support for the dollar even longer. So it might buy the Federal Reserve more chance to continue to pump because people will still hold them because their countries are so bad. So it could go on a lot longer is what I'm saying. So, but then again, at some point it has to come to an end. But I would hold my breath.
I had another great thought too. Yeah. You know how we're always talking about how there's like a war on cash.
Mm-hmm.
Now, every piece of currency, or almost all of them, are all Federal Reserve notes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So basically, the only real money we have running around is loose change, and they were trying to get all that too.
Right. And also, mind you, even though I don't know, I forgot the M2 or the M1. It's I think it's 2-3 trillion. So there's only 2-3 trillion ish worth of paper floating around. But when it comes to total monetary base with the M2 and everything else, it's closer to 20-30 trillion. So paper still makes up a very small amount of notes. So that means they still can probably go a little bit banana with another 2 or 3 on top of that before people realize it's actually the currency itself. Because right now it's predominantly digital. When everybody look on their screens, ain't no paper backing that up. It's just digits. So I think foreigners are also holding digits as well, denominated in dollars in their own accounts, because you can buy dollars in all these other countries, which gives that a little bit more lifeline. So, I mean, the Ponzi scheme going for a lot longer than we probably think.
Well, you want to know one place where they're getting all the cash that they can, and all they'll take is cash, is these pot dispensaries.
Yeah.
All they take is cash. So they're like killing the money with that too.
Yeah. So I mean, it's going to be a use case for cash for a while. So that basically provides more of a lifeline. So while the rest of the world, predominantly the BRICS, that actually have the real world resources, while they require something else, there still could be a use case for those Federal Reserve notes, because nobody going to be stuck holding them. So they're going to definitely move hands a lot faster than they probably do in the past. But they're going to be of use to somebody. Because it's going to be years for people to realize that, we're in a monetary reset, meaning the old currency, the old reserve currency has already transitioned away. Just like with the British pound, it was, damn near 2 wars, World War I, World War II, before all the gold was gone. And then the U.S. basically stepped up as the head honcho. So that was 20 years or so before people realized that, the British pound is no longer the head honcho. So same thing could happen with the Federal Reserve note. It could be the rest of this decade or more while they bring in a CBDC, you know what I'm saying? So
it usually takes about 5 years for something to set in. Yeah, you're right. It usually takes.
But yeah, so hopefully time is on our side, because we can still put those Federal Reserve notes to use while we can, because it's all those notes will be held accountable with whatever it is you need when you need it. Can you go get it? And how many more units will it cost you then than it will today? And it's guaranteed it's going to cost you more digital units, tomorrow, next year, than it does right now for anything you want. So, hey, man, but let me get some more calls, man.
Surefire plan. I have a surefire plan to save our country. All we have to do is liberate the Federal Reserve, and we'll be done with them.
Yeah, so it will be different if people realize that the central banks, as well as our government, are responsible for this. And we had people actually in front of all 12 branches with signs and got some media coverage, and people start pointing at the central banks as a primary reason. Like, if we could get something like that going in a unified nature, I think we'll definitely that'll be a start. But I don't think people don't even know what the Federal Reserve is beyond people who plugged in here. So, but hey, man,
that was like the January 6th thing. I was watching that on TV, and I thought, these people are at the wrong damn building.
Right. At the Capitol, you should be at the Federal Reserve building. Hey, man, appreciate you calling, my friend.
Okay, Mike, have a good night.
You too. Good stuff, man. From which people fit this description. Dwayne, it says Genesis 15:13 through 15. Let me see here. Dwayne, what you got for me? Let me plug in Genesis. What was that again? Genesis 15:13 through 15. 1 second here. Let me go to the good book here. Let me see what you're talking about here. 13:15. Let me find it. 1 second. Chapter 15. 13 through 15. Am I correct with that? Let me make sure I got that correct. Let me make sure it's right. Okay, give me 1 second here. I lost a tweet. What did they show? Genesis 15:13. Okay, so let me put this on the screen here. This is what you are referring to. Genesis 15 says, "Then the Lord said to him, Know for certain that for 400 years your descendants will be strangers in a country not their own, and that they will be enslaved and mistreated there. But I will punish the nation I will punish the nation they serve as slaves, and afterward they will come out with great possessions. You will, however, go to your ancestors in peace and be buried at a good old age. All right, is that what we're talking about? Yep. So, yep. Appreciate it, man. Give us some context for that particular piece of scripture there, my friend. Foreign notes won't be accepted associated with terrorism. Yeah, it says the U.S. debt is owed by the U.S. debt served population. That's how it works. I would support DeSantis only if President Trump supported him. Yeah, so that's the thing, whether it's Trump, DeSantis, neither one of them are capable of bringing about the change needed at this current point, just because it's not about our country. It's the human race in general. So, I mean, it'll buy some time, sure. So I'll go with that. Hello, caller. Which name we calling from?
Yeah, Mike, Steve, Fever Region 9. I'm coming in late.
That's all good, man.
On your show tonight.
It's all
I'm
good.
catching the tail end of it here. But I'll put it this way. Regarding utilities and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
that they're going up around the world, etc. Yeah. I sent you that. I sent you a video earlier in the day.
Mm-hmm.
It was earlier in the day. It was of the 2021 Texas winter storm, where people were getting bills of $7,000, $9,000.
Yeah.
Residential.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to that? Does anybody know whatever happened to that?
Right.
I tried to research it. Online, and I'm finding pretty much nothing. I'm pretty much finding nothing. As did those people have to pay those bills?
So as you were speaking, I typed that in, and the first article popped up. It says 29 million of electric bills from Texas winter storm will be forgiven. And so,
but were they?
So
were they?
Right.
I guess that's my question. Were they?
Yeah.
Because I've heard of nobody. I've heard of nobody on YouTube, no resident of Texas on YouTube going, I didn't have to pay that bill,
right,
or etc. I'm not seeing anything
right
on YouTube as far as that.
So
They're
it
saying
says,
that, but is there any proof of?
So it was 24,000 former customers who owed 29.1 million in unpaid electric bills. So not sure, but I'd assume if people, because it says here the ERCOT set prices at $9,000 per megawatt hour. And it says the season average is 50. So it went through the roof. So I would imagine if people were still stuck with that bill, we would have probably heard some fuss by now. Somehow, some way, it was circulated on Twitter. It'd have been trending or something like that. Still got a bill, or they got their stuff, cut off and get caught, collections agency, however that, So, yeah, well, I'm sure we'd have heard something. So I'll take it as it was dismissed, but will it happen for the entire nation if it happens here next year or two or whatever? Probably not.
Absolutely, and I hope that's true. And one thing that I did learn from watching the video from 2021 is, do not put any of your big bill things. Don't put it on automatic payment. Do not put it on automatic payment.
Yeah. man.
They will grab it, and then you have to go back and try to
fight it. Right. And then depending on what account it's come out of, imagine if it ain't enough in there, and you got the overdraft charge and all that headache as well. So you'll be fighting the energy company and the bank and everything else in between, trying to, so that would suck. Yeah.
And given the thing that I sent you earlier in the day, from the video, it was from 2021, naturally. But people's accounts were wiped out. Yeah. Because they had it on, automatic payment or whatever, and the utilities just
right.
wiped out their accounts.
Yeah, man.
So don't put your I guess the big thing is don't put your utilities
Mm-hmm.
on the automatic
Yeah.
withdrawal.
Right.
Don't do it.
Hey, man. Appreciate you,
or
man.
anything that's high price.
Very true.
If you know what I mean.
Gotcha, man. Hey, but thanks for calling in. Get a couple more calls in, my friend. Thanks for calling in.
All right. Take care, bro.
Yep. Hello, caller. Where we calling from? Hello?
Hello. Hey, Mike. How you doing?
Doing well, my friend. What's up? What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Dwayne. I'm calling from your hometown, Detroit, man.
Dwayne from the D. What's going on, man? What's on your mind tonight?
All right. I just wanted to put some context onto that scripture that you read.
Okay, give it to me.
400 years.
Yeah.
That was a dream, a prophecy that Abraham had for his descendants that outnumber the stars, which is us. You know, in 400 years, if you go 400 years back from today, you know, you get around the time we came to this country, you know, built this country, and you know, we were the first stocks on the stock market. They developed stock markets on our backs. We were the stock.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The possessions that, you know, our free labor, you know, and their ultimate control built this country in the colonial powers, you know, and you know, it's falling. It's falling. If you look in the West Indies with the sugar cane and the fruit companies, the West Indies, the Dutch. I mean, what's the West Indian country company? You know, that colonial power, those times.
Yeah.
If you all that's coming to an end, all those super cycles, you know, it's coming to the end, and we're the only. This country has no production. There's nothing of value in this country. They raped it. But we're, me, you, the blacks, you play basketball and you've been around this world. I'm sure you've been to a country where they looked at you and thought you were Michael Jordan, you know, or the best ever. You know, you went to places and you were a star before you even picked up a basket, before you shot a shot. You know? And they're losing control of us and they need us. But I'm going to leave it at that, right? But just know that we are the people of that book. It's ours, you know. And the enemy is supposed to be against the stuff that's in the book, you know.
Right. Hey, appreciate it, man. Thanks for calling and sharing your insights.
Yes, sir.
Be good.
Yes, sir.
Yep. Hello, caller. Where we calling from?
Hey, Mike. It's low blood pressure Corpus Christi. How you doing?
LBP. Doing good, man. What's up with you?
I'm eating tamales. You know tamales?
Yeah.
That's a Mexican soul food, Mike. Mexican soul food.
Yeah, I haven't had. I don't think I've ever. I'm familiar with, but I don't think I've ever had any. I don't think.
Oh man, they're good. They're like corn, like a corn leaf, and then it's like a what do you call it? Cornmeal inside with a little bit of meat.
Yeah.
They got pork, so I don't know. You know, they're not halal. You know.
Yeah. What else going on with you,
all right, Mike. Look, Mike.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to total economic collapse. I want to see total liquidity freeze. I want nobody to use credit cards, debit cards. I want the banks to not have a cent. But it never comes, Mike. I'm getting impatient, Mike. What do I do?
Hey, man. Enjoy the calm while you can, man. So and also, you know, as a parent, you know what I'm saying? Think about the world. Like that means your children's, the world they grow up in will not look nothing like what you had. Therefore, they're already not at a disadvantage, but then again, it's the learning curve is that much greater because they literally gonna, you know, so like it's gonna be a much different adjustment as a dad trying to teach your kid in a world where you got to take them outside to go kill something to eat and the stuff that we used to do before the credits, before you could swipe your card on everything. You know what I'm saying?
Mike, we're doing that now, Mike. We're doing that now.
You slaughter and kill a cattle in Corpus Christi, huh?
Yeah, there's cows out there.
I don't doubt it.
Look, we're already set to succeed. I just want them to hurry up and you know, pull the plug already. Hit the damn button already.
Hey, if it was that easy, I'm sure they would have. Hey, man, I appreciate you calling, man.
All right, Mike. All right, I'll send you some tamales.
Oh, please do.
All right.
Be good.
Right, Mike.
Yeah. Hello, caller. Where we calling from?
Hey, I'm calling from Barksdale Air Force Base.
Hi there. What's your name, my friend?
How you doing, man?
Doing well.
My name's Caleb.
Caleb, what's going on with you, my friend?
I've been watching you. I've been a long time subscriber of yours, and I follow the financial turmoil topic quite closely.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering if you're familiar with the U.S. National Debt Clock.
Yes.
.org.
Yep.
So if you go to that, I'm not sure if you're tracking this, but they have the Debt Clock time machine,
Mm-hmm.
and it says U.S. It's the savings per family under the unfunded debt and interest.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to their projections for 2026, it drops drastically to $17. I'm not sure if you're tracking that.
Okay, so give me, so I got the clock up now. So give me that, get a rundown. So go to where now? That clock time machine.
All right. And then go to 2026. So if you look now, It says 7,945 under savings per family, so pretty much in the middle of the whole clock.
Okay. Savings per family. Ooh.
And then if you go to 2026.
Yeah. Okay.
It says $17. So they're kind of like almost blatantly saying it, and I don't know. It just makes me think, like, what are they projecting?
So like first thing comes to my mind. So I'm putting on the screen here. So it says savings per family is $17 in 2026. So there was the I can't think of it, but not what is it? It was the screen capture that was circulating about 2 years ago, before everything jumped off, basically highlighting how by 2025 the global population was going to be decreased by 40%, and it had the population of the U.S., which is currently 320. It had the U.S. population at 100 something million people, basically signifying that there's going to be a major loss of life. And the GDP went from 17 now, whatever it is, down to like 7. So they were forecasting, saying that by that time frame, there will be less population, less economic activity, less, purchasing power parity, all that stuff was down. So that's the first thing that came to mind, because they're probably predicting that there won't be as many humans around. And I would assume it has a lot to do with the experimentation that we're experiencing and all the unforeseen casualties.
Right.
So it has some sick, demonic, evil type stuff associated with that, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
But that, I mean, I would say that would be the first thing that comes to mind. But I can't think of the name of the website, because they took it down. But there's a screenshot circulating everywhere to point that out. But if anybody in the community remember the name of the web, Diego, there we go. So yeah, let me pull this up real quick. So are you familiar with that?
I'm not familiar with that.
So let me. So it's Diego 2025 population forecast. So you type that in, and it'll give you a screenshot, and I'll put it on the screen right here. So here is. Let me see here. So this is on the screen right now. If it pops up, so here's a screenshot right here on the screen, and this is what I was talking about here. So it just gives you predictions. So it says as of 2014. Well, where was this at? 2014. This is an older one. But anyway, so go to Diego, type in 2022 forecast or something like that. It pop up and it shows you present and then future, and it's a big drop off. And it just shows a lot of craziness out here. So this is the wrong one, but this is where I got that from. So it's out there.
Yeah. I just figured that would have been a little tidbit, because that's like an official source, like, the U.S. National Debt Clock. And I feel like not a lot of people will catch that. Like, all the numbers moving are kind of mesmerizing. But that was just one little thing I noticed, the savings per family going all the way to $17. And I was like, man, some people need to know about this. The financial turmoil community is not really big.
Right.
But yeah, I feel like we're tight.
Very true. So right now, while you're talking, I pulled up what looks like a more recent one, but it says, so it has 2017 here. There's 327 million people in the U.S. And then I go to forecast 2025, it says 100 million. So between 2027 and 2025, something occurred to where all of a sudden there's not that many inhabitants. So per square footage, per square kilometer, it looks like. So gross domestic product down to 2.4 from 19 right about now. So something took place in between there. So I can see how that U.S. debt clock could say 17 average savings per family. So, but hey, man, hopefully it don't happen. But that's what they have concocted. So it's in the works right now.
Right.
Yeah, sad.
But yeah, man,
taking my call.
For sure, man. Thanks for calling in.
More often.
All right, be good.
Take it easy.
Yep. Yeah. Oh man, that's just a fresh reminder for those who may not be familiar with that, but that's a great catch there to see that it says $17. So that it's a type. I would like to say it's a typo, but there are no such thing as accidents during a planned reset. So let me see what pops up when I hover over it. It says liquid cash and personal savings for all U.S. families divided by the number of U.S. families is $17. So how in the world would you get a number like that? Would be, so I'm going to chalk it up as a typo, as an error, but I know it's not. All right, let's get this last call. Sad and true. Hello, caller. Which name are we calling from?
Hey, Mike, this is the coolest white dude in Yashkaba, Mexico. How are you, my friend?
Excellent, my man. The coolest dude in Mexico. What's going on with you, man?
It's nice to hear low blood pressure. We're excited to feed him tamales here in Yashkaba, Mexico when he comes. And I am too also getting impatient. I hope like in 10 years, it's not going to be like I'm calling the Detroit's coolest late night show that starts at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon because we're so old.
Right. Yeah, man. That's really like I don't get it, man. I'm extremely patient, and I'm more so patient not for my sake, but for my kids' sake. You know what I'm saying? I want my kids to grow up and have a smidget of an opportunity that I had as a child to be able to live in somewhat normal times rather than just have them living during a Great Depression where, you know what I'm saying, you can't go where, can't do nothing. We can't, you know what I'm saying? Like, so that's why I'm very patient and I stay prayed up. You know what I'm saying? Trust in the Lord, allow us to continue to move smoothly as if nothing ever occurred, man. That's just me.
Yeah, well, I hope so too. I mean, beyond every cloud is sunshine. And, at the end of the culling, there's still going to be a couple billion people, and there's only, probably 1,000 bad characters. If we can't win that basketball game, we can't win anything.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah, man. But no, just hey, enjoy the good times while you can, man. You're in Mexico. Enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? I'm definitely looking forward to coming down there and hanging out, man. That's for sure. I'm gonna put that in motion. I'm backlog on a lot of my travel, you know what I'm saying, due to kids' schedule, everything else in between. But I'm gonna get caught up and head down to Mexico. It's been a minute.
Well, thank you. You're welcome. And the other listeners here, these places that I built are really nice. I don't know if you watched that video I put together. I posted it on Rumble.
Did you put it in the Telegram?
What I got going on here.
You put it in the Telegram?
I posted a video of showing what I built. It's on Rumble. If you just search in Carl Lake or High Times Resort, you can find it.
Okay. So, and also, put it in the Telegram, man. I'll definitely put it out there. And as I mentioned, trying to get like a little RTD meetup, something down there. That'd be fun. So put that in motion. Maybe you better get something in beginning of next year, man. So, looking forward to, helping out, man.
Yeah, well, thank you. I mean, we have 4 rentals here. One spoken for with low blood pressure. He'll have the gold suite. I paint my buildings in the color of money, which is gold, silver.
Yeah. That's good,
That's
man.
what I do.
LBP got him a spot, man. But no, appreciate you calling, my man. Stay up and enjoy the good weather down there.
Have a good night.
Yep.
Show.
Will do.
God bless you.
Be good. Yeah, good stuff, man. All right, so we're approaching the hour point, man. I see persistence over resistance. It says, if you know that, what it says, if you know, Mike didn't know at one point, but the time he forgot. What we referring to. It's been a long time. I've been talking about the monetary system and everything in between for so long. After a while, you forget it. But one thing I do, and I'm not too confident in, this number, stuff like that. It's like, I think it's more hopium than anything else. Like, you can, it gives people hope. So I'm not going to, talk about nothing like that or shoot nothing down, like the whole quantum financial system, the Sarah, it gives you hope, man. Hope is half the battle. You know what I'm saying? Like, I personally, I'm not too strong on that. waiting on it, or I'd rather try to help people realize and wake up to what's going on, take precautionary measures according to what they can do now, rather than, wait on 45 to come back 2 years and say today and all that. No, that's just me. But no, I'm all game for whatever works for you, man. Whatever gives you hope, I'll support it. But it has to be grounded in the word of God, and it has to be in preparation for the kingdom. Because I'm gonna stop right there because man. Yeah. Anyway, the hope is in Christ ruling the world 100%. Like the millennial reign of Christ. The more I dive into Revelations, man, and understanding, the 7 trumpets, the 7 seals, the 7 bowls, it's like, man, it's just a beautiful story, man. When you look at it from the right perspective, like literally all these things must take place in order to separate good from evil, man. That's just what it's all about. So if you're on the winning side, i.e. in Christ, then you'll be just fine. You're going to have tough times. That's because it comes with living in his body. But in the end, you'll win. And what I think about is, what I'm currently doing now, when I know everything and I'm fully aware of everything, what will my life look like and what will my work be in the millennial reign? Like, it says we'll rule and reign with Christ on this earth for 1,000 years. So I think a lot about that. That stuff is extremely exciting to me, just because it's just, man, it's my future. I believe it's my destiny. So looking forward to it. But anyway, that's all she wrote. Be blessed, be safe, get your weight up, get your calories up, get your prayer game up, and trust the Lord, man, because he's going to take care of it all, as he always have. So if you're still able to watch and tune in, you're blessed beyond measure. And hopefully you're out there helps sharing some of those blessings, and also utilizing your faith and working your faith. Literally, like, what have you done for the king lately is one of the statements I usually say. What have you done for the kingdom of God lately? You have an assignment, you have a calling, get to work. Your reward eternally depends on it. Anyway, be blessed, be safe, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.